What is up people, this is SHQ, and in this video I'll be showing you how I made the enclosure for the DIY home automation system. So this one would be quite different as this would be based on photos only. So let's get started. This first photo, this shows the outline that I made and the layout that I'm going to be attaching everything inside the enclosure. The next thing is figuring out the height. The next, tracing all that out on an aluminum PVC sheet, making guidelines for it and scratching it up. Next, I cut them all out and sanded these sides for smooth finish. But then I realized that I'm going to be working with high voltages and hence anything conductive should be avoided. So what I did was I transferred them onto a sheet of plywood. Next, I made these sides. These sides were made of cardboard because this was readily available. Then these are the lines which I'm going to be cutting for placing the for the Raspberry Pi's inputs and outputs, which are the USB in, HDMI out, audio in. This one for the back, that is the LAN and the USB ports. Now this is the front or the top of the enclosure. Now this circle over here is for the speaker, which is shown over here. I'll be adding this, so if just in case I think of adding the Google Assistant or a voice recognition software, I can just connect the speaker and it's done. Next, I just screwed the wooden piece on another piece of sacrificial wooden piece and drilled out holes. Now this one I was scavenging for switches and I came across an old circuit board which had multiple switches, the rubber push button types, and hence what I did was I cut out those switches from it. Now over here, this is the first method which I used, but this was quite lengthy. What I did was I took a hacksaw and cut out these sides, and the next method which I used was just scratching off the top and the bottom parts of the PCB and just breaking them out. This method took quite less time and the finish was much cleaner than before. Then what I did was I scratched off some of the traces so I could solder onto them, and I soldered on them. This is the finished product. Now to mount this on the top piece, so what I did was I drilled some small holes for the legs of the rubber things to set it, and then I drilled 2 holes for the screws to pass through and screw the whole piece together. Now I made a total of 10 switches. Now this part, what I did was I passed the wires through the holes which I specifically drilled out for the holes for the wires, and then I connected it all to a connector, a 16-pin connector, which I then connected to the GPIO breakout board on the Raspberry Pi. And just if in future, if I want to add or remove any of these, it can easily be done. And also the maintenance of this whole enclosure is quite simple as these are quick disconnects. Now the video. So this is after everything. I've assembled it. That is the top. It has the holes for the speaker, the 10 switches, the cutout for the USB and LAN ports. This side is blank. The top has the 3 wires popping out for the 3 relays which I used, and the LEDs which are popping out as well, the 3 white ones which are indicators and the green one which I changed for indicating that the circuit is on, and the final cutout, the one for the inputs and outputs. So if you take a closer look, I mounted all of this with screws to make it easily maintainable and openable. Now that is cardboard and this is the wooden part on the top, and that's the back from where I'll be mounting it to the wall. Now this part, after I unscrewed these screws, I just pop it open, and this is the internals. That's the 16-pin connector which can be disconnected. This is the speaker held with 3 screws, which is yet to be connected with the 16-pin connector. These are the switches. The blue wires all go to the 16-pin connector, and then that connector's other end goes to the GPIO breakout board of the Raspberry Pi. The Raspberry Pi is mounted using an old piece of scrap which I had, and this is the relay board which I made. I replaced the red light with green light, so it just looks better. Now I placed some cardboard between the PCB of the LED and the outer piece, so those LEDs don't pop out much further than what I need. Now to assemble it again, I just have to push back the top and screw in the screws. I have two colors of screws. One are the silvers which are used in the bottom, and the blacks which are used in the top. After some modification, I applied thick radium pieces on the sides to make it color match it to the walls which I have in my room. Other thing I did was screwing the whole switchboard together and writing the GPIOs. Now I might cut off these strips just so that more audio can come through it or flow through it. And these wires will go directly to the switchboard. So thank you people for watching this video. Like this video or dislike it. Subscribe to the channel, share it, go through my other videos, and see you next time. Ta-da!